So in the previous lecture, we discussed characteristics curve of drying, and we also took up an example there. So essentially, we had several regions of drying. The fundamental was the first region where we have constant thin film of the liquid. So essentially, we had evaporation rate same as the drying rate. All right, so that's why it's the most fundamental in the sense that whether we have a drying from a solid surface which is covered with a thin film of the liquid, or we have just a pool of the liquid, as long as the temperature is the same, it will exert the same vapor pressure and we will have the same evaporation rate, same as the drying rate. All right, then of course the drying rate start decreasing because of the solid patch, because of the patches, dry patches, which start appearing on the solid surface. So although the intrinsic rate is again the same as the evaporation rate, but since we are reporting the drying rate based on the total surface area, there is an artifact of that and the drying rate decreases. Okay, so in the last lecture we also took up an example where we calculated the total time of drying, including the constant rate, which is like the unbound moisture, and then we had this decreasing rate, which is the bound moisture, till we hit the critical moisture content, and then we go till we reach the equilibrium moisture concentrations. Okay, in today's lecture what we do, we study the heat transfer aspects. Right, since it's a drying, one has to supply heat, very substantial amount of heat, for the moisture to evaporate or to pull the moisture from within the solid surface or from the pores of the solid surface. Okay, and if you recall, we also said that when we go into that bound moisture region where the concentrations or the drying rate starts decreasing non-linearly, then we have this capillary effects. The moisture have to diffuse by the Knudsen diffusion, they have come to the top of the surface. All right, so the things are quite complicated. So what we do today, we discuss the heat transfer aspects in conjunction with this constant rate period, where we have the constant rate evaporations, or things are well understood, well defined, less of mathematical steps. Okay, so again we take this example for a batch system. So we will have a solid surface and air will flow past the solid surface. So essentially we have a cross circulations. So the batch 1, cross circulation second 2, and third we have this evaporation rate constant, so unbound moisture. So with these three we will address how does the heat transfer have the effect on the drying rate. And again, when we say the heat transfer, we should think of, we have some trays on which we have kept the solid surface, and then it comes in contact with the hot air. Now we can also have the radiation effect, which means there could be a solid wall, a radiating surface at a very high temperature, so from which this moist solid which we want to dry can receive the heat. All right, so if that happens, then one has to also take into account for this heat of radiations. In addition to that, we can also have convective effect. All right, so all these three, conduction, convections and radiations, have to be taken into account to calculate the heat received by the solid surface, and then we can calculate how much is your drying rate. So essentially it's a combined effect of heat transfer and the mass transfer. All right, so we take up this heat transfer aspect in today's lecture. So as we said, we are studying cross circulation drying. We also have this batch drying, and in conjunction with this we have this constant rate period. All right, so if you recall, we are talking of this range where the moisture is unbound. So this is unbound, and this is the rate where we have this xc, corresponding to which we had the constant rate as nc, denoted by nc. Okay, so let's see that we have some solid tray made of certain metals. All right, so let's say put some dimension here. Let's say thickness is Zm. This has thermal conductivity given as Km, on which we have kept a solid which we want to dry. So it's a moist solid to start with. All right, this radius, this thickness is Zs, and this has a solid conductivity given as Ks. Now we have the airflow, So it's a cross circulation drying. So this solid surface, both top and the bottom, we have this cross flow of solid of the gas here. So let's say the quality is given as, say the temperature is Tg and the humidity is Y here. So the Y represents kg of moisture per kg of dry air, per kg of dry air. So G, Tg, Y, all three here. Okay, and it also comes inside of the solid. Let's say here we have a hot plate or some solid surface at a temperature Tr, from which the solid surface also receives heat by radiation. So look at this now. We have Qr received by the solid surface, or this top cover of this, there is maybe some thin layer of liquid here. We are in constant rate period, so we are assuming that the solid surface, top of the solid surface, there is a very thin film of water. It's a moist solid from the top surface. So the top surface receives heat by Qr. Since we have G, we can expect another convective heat transfer coefficients. So let's say the temperature was given as Tg bulk, and then there is a drop here. So Tg to this Ts. So we can have convective heat transfer coefficient. Bulk temperature is Tg, air temperature, and then there is a drop here. So which is top of the surface here is Ts. Okay, so water evaporates at Ts. Only thing is that Ts is not known to us. We know that radiation temperature Tr, we know the air temperature which is Tg, but the Ts is not known to us. We will see that how we can make an estimate or how we can calculate this Ts. Now this bottom of this plate, which is it's not wet, it's a metal surface here. This also receives heat from air. So there is a convective heat transfer coefficient here also. The bulk temperature drops from Tg to, let's say, Tm. Now the heat will also get conducted through this metallic surface. So there will be another drop here, and then another drop here. So the solid surface receives heat by the third mode, which is by conductions. So one is by radiation, two is by this convection, and third is by conduction from the bottom. So we have three components of heat here. Q equal to Qr plus Qc plus Qk for conduction. Okay, and all of this is heat flux here. So we are saying this Q equal to calorie per second per meter square, or we can have watt per meter square. So heat flux. And please note, this heat under steady state will also be equal to rate at which moisture evaporates. So this is kg per second per meter square. So this is the NC we were talking here, that we are in this region unbound, which is a constant rate period, and the rate of evaporation or the rate of drying is NC. So NC, kg per second per meter square, multiplied by lambda S. So where lambda is your heat of vaporizations. So we have some joule per kg of solid. Of course, this has to be specified at a temperature Ts, which is unknown to us. So looks like we'll have to make some approximation here. We have to make some estimate for lambda S. Latent heat of evaporation does depend upon what is the temperature at which the water evaporates. Alright, so here we said that Ts is unknown, so we'll have to make some estimate. Nonetheless, we have all three components: heat transfer, heat flux. This is equated to drying rate multiplied by this latent heat of vaporizations. Alright, so now let's address each component here: Qr, Qc and Qk. So what is Qr? You should recall from your knowledge of heat transfer, this Qr is HR. You can write some radiation heat transfer coefficients multiplied by Tr minus Ts. So we are talking of now Tr, and we have this solid surface on which we have very thin film of liquid. So this temperature is Ts. So this radiating surface has this radiating heat flux given as Qr. So we have HR TR minus TS. But most fundamentally is that this can also be equated to epsilon, where epsilon is emissivity of the surface. We have a Stephen-Boltzmann constant. This number may be familiar to you. So this is Stephen-Boltzmann constant multiplied by temperature raised to the power 4. So again, you go through previous lecture notes on heat transfer or some textbook on heat transfer. So heat of radiation is given as emissivity multiplied by Stephen-Boltzmann constant, which is also estimated as 5.729 to the power minus 8 into temperature raised to the power 4 for radiation minus this Ts to the power 4. The unit of this number you should be able to recognize that this should be equal to watt per meter square Kelvin to the power 4. So this QR heat flux is watt per meter square. Alright. So now what we have is the first one is QR, second is QC. So heat transferred by convection, convective heat transfer. So we have this top surface which is TS. There is a heat flow here G. So depending upon Reynolds number, very similar to mass transfer coefficient which we have extensively discussed in this course, there is a heat transfer coefficient given by Hc. Hc will be some function of Reynolds number, Prandtl number, etc. So one has to go through certain correlations reported for a cross flow or flow past the solid surface with heat transfer coefficient Hc. All it reflects, temperature drops from Tg to some temperature Ts here. So we have QC given as Hc Tg minus Ts, and we said that one has to go through some handouts for some Perry's handbook to get the best very close correlations which reflects on the situation. Here we have the solid surface and we have the flow parallel to this. So one of the very common correlation is given as Gc equal to 5.9 G to the power 0.71 divided by dE to the power 0.29. This dE is of course equivalent diameter. So this equivalent diameter is for different flow. Alright, cross. So here in our case we can think of this cross section where we have flow like this. So the bottom one here is a solid surface Ts, and the top one we can think of this TR radiating surface. So this is your flow area from which we can get equivalent diameter. We will take up an example where we will address this. Third is your QK, so heat transfer by conduction. So essentially we are applying Fourier first law minus K dt by dy at any locations y. So now what we say that we have this metallic surface at the bottom which is non-drying. This will also have a certain thickness, so it's a tray which has a thickness, we said that Zm. So heat is also transferred from the air, so there is a drop. So we have same Hc, it transferred by conductions, then we have the solid surface, then another drop, then it comes to this Ts here. So heat is top solid surface receives heat by conductions from the bottom. Alright, let's try to draw a schematic of this heat drop. So let's start with the bottom of this metallic plate. There is one dotted line here which reflects Hc. Temperature drop from Tg air, let's say, to this Tm. Okay, so this Tm is temperature at the bottom of the tray. Then this tray also has its own thickness, which we said it's Zm. So there is a drop, it's a metallic surface, so you will expect very less drop here because thermal conductivity of the metal is generally very high. So it drops to say Tm prime. So this is the bottom of the solid which we want to dry here. So generally this has poor thickness, Ks will be much smaller than Km. This thickness of the solid is Zs. So there will be another drop here till we reach Ts. Alright, so this third component Uk, now you can think of, if you recall heat transfer, there are one resistance, second resistance, third resistance, all three resistances. So you can have overall heat transfer coefficient Tg minus Ts. Alright, so this is also watt per meter square. So heat received by the top surface by conductions. Okay, and since you realize that there are three resistances, one can write Uk as a combination, series combination of all these three resistances. This would be equal to 1 over Hc, A over Au. Alright, so now we are talking of different areas. If you recall from heat transfer, we have U0, A0, you have Ui, Ai, Um, Am. So we are making correction for the different areas. It's possible that in some cases you can have the areas like this. So bottom surface has different area, top surface has different areas. So for that we have this area corrections. This A is the area of drying. This Au would be area of undrying surface. Remember, there is no evaporation or drying from the bottom of the solid surface because there is a tray here. So this would be your Au and the top would be A. Of course, in this case is rectangular. You can say that Au, unused or undrying surface, is same as the top of the surface. So this area correction is 1 here, but nonetheless this is a general expression. Plus heat transfer by conduction. So you have Zm, Km. So now we are talking of this resistance here, and you have again A over Au. Plus now we are talking of the third resistance here, Zs over Ks, and here we have A over Am. Am, you can say that this is average drying area of solid. For the same reason that maybe this is A1, maybe this is A2. Of course, in our case, all three A's, maybe that depends upon the example, are the same, so we don't have to make this any area corrections. After we know all those three, now we can add all three heat flux as HR. So first is Tr minus Ts. Remember, this HR is the heat transfer coefficient for radiations, which one can calculate based on the second expression which we wrote most fundamentally for radiation in terms of emissivity and Stephan-Boltzmann constant. Alright, plus Hc, which is convective heat transfer coefficient from the top, solid receives heat by convection, Hc, plus we have this conductions Uk, again from the bottom we are receiving heat by conductions, Tg minus Ts, and they can be arranged to write as Tg minus Ts, Hc plus Uk, plus we have HR, and we have this Tr minus Ts. So the total heat flux received by the solid surface by three mechanism or three modes of heat transfer is this. And remember, we equated this to Nc into lambda. Alright, because so this is the where we see the coupling between heat transfer and mass transfer. Heat and mass transfer. Heat transfer plays a very major role here. So what we are saying that whatever is the rate of evaporation, this is controlled by this unbound region where the rate is a constant given as Nc. So after some time it's going to drop here. We are going to study the first one, which is the most simpler, the most fundamental. Rate of drying is the same as rate of evaporation, so depend upon what is the temperature of the solid surface. Of course, in this problem we said that Ts is not known to us. What we know is a Tg, and what we know here is a Tr, radiating surface. Ts is not known to us. Alright, we will see how we can calculate this. So from this, these two, coupling of heat and mass transfer, we can now write Nc as Q by lambda s, to say that lambda s is calculated at Ts. lambda s is a function of Ts. So there is always some corrections here. How much is the temperature? Latent heat of vaporization does depend upon Ts, but if the Ts is very close, doesn't vary much, say by few degrees, so somebody can make an estimate and can do these calculations. So Nc equal to Q by lambda s, Q we have written down the expressions, Tg minus Ts, Hc plus Uk plus Hr, Tr minus Ts over this lambda s. And now also recall, when talking of this mass transfer, just like we have this heat transfer coefficients or overall heat transfer coefficients, recall from previous lecture, we can also write Nc as some mass transfer coefficient and Ys minus y. So now we are saying that this solid surface, top of the solid surface, here the temperature is Ts and here the temperature is Tg of air. So corresponding to this Ts, there is Ys, relative humidity or saturated humidity corresponding to this Ts, and there is Y, humidity of this air corresponding to this at this temperature Tc. Of course Tg and Y, they are unrelated, so the air has a temperature Tg and air has certain humidity. Corresponding to this Ts, we are assuming that the solid surface which is covered with a thin film is saturated with water, so we have corresponding to this Ts, there is Ys here, saturated humidity, saturated humidity at this temperature. So we have this expression, and this expressions. Ky, again one has to rely on some correlations. Maybe from this we can calculate Ky. So depending upon type of the problem, the way problem is phrased, one can calculate this, and that says that's what we're trying to say here, that the rate of evaporation, the rate of drying can be calculated from energy balance and can also be calculated from mass transfer. The two are coupled here. So if we have, say, a psychrometric curve, alright, from this we can calculate Ys corresponding to Ts. We'll take an example where we will see this. Now there's one more important thing here. We said that the solid surface, top of the solid surface, which is covered with a thin film of the liquid here, Ts is not known to us. Tr and Tg, they are known to us. So the solid reaches this temperature Ts under steady state because of all three effects, because of radiation, so it gets heated up, because of convections, and also it receives heat from the bottom by this Qk. Alright. However, if we neglecting Qr, radiation effect, and Qk, you should be able to appreciate that the solid temperature Ts, what it reaches under a steady state, will be same as wet bulb temperature. So I'm sure you have come across this wet bulb temperature in heat transfer, and maybe some other course in which we have discussed, or you must have discussed, the dry bulb temperature, wet bulb temperature, and psychrometric chart. Okay, so maybe you should go through those lecture notes, the textbook, even Treball, McCabe-Smith, all of them, they discuss, they have one at least one chapter on this humidification, design of cooling tower, all of them, they fall under this chapter here. So all we said that if we neglect heat radiations and heat conductions, the top temperature will reach, we can approximate that Ts is nothing but the wet bulb temperature, and all it means, knowing this Tg and humidity from psychrometric chart, one can calculate Ts, or one can read Ts. One has to follow this adiabatic saturation line. There are several lines on the psychrometric curve. Find out where this intersects at Ts, and corresponding to this we can also read Ys. So it's approximations when we are neglecting the other two components of heat transfer. And from the practical point of view, all we are saying that if we have trays like this, which are stacked like this, very often the top surface receives heat by Qr from some other solid rod or the plates which we have. Underneath all these trays, they may not receive the same amount of heat radiations QR. So for these stacks which are underneath, one can make this approximation to say that the top solid surface has reached the wet bulb temperature. So that makes our computations very simpler here. We will take an example where we see these two effects. Now let's see what decides different rate flux here, which can determine or which can affect the rate of drying, because NC equal to Q into lambda. So if the Q is large, solid surface receive a very high heat flux, will have very large rate of drying. Of course, we are talking of this constant evaporation rate or constant drying zone, where the rate is constant as NC. So here it all depends what is evaporation rate, what is the temperature here of the solid surface. Okay, so first thing is that just qualitatively we can discuss here is the velocity of air. If velocity of air is very large, we will expect large Reynolds number. Heat transfer coefficient will be very large, and given Tg, you will expect that Nc will also be larger. So rate will increase, rate of drying or rate of evaporation will increase if velocity is large. Similarly, if the air is high temperature Tg, you will see the heat transfer or the driving force for heat transfer Tg minus Ts will increase, Nc will also increase. What will cause decrease? Well, one thing is the humidity. If the air is humid, then Ys minus Y, so this is Ys and this is the quality of air Y, this will decrease, and if this decreases, Nc will decrease, because we are talking of Km into Ys minus Y, also same as Nc. So from mass transfer point of view, Nc will decrease if the air has larger humidity. So how about the thickness? The thickness is large of the tray or the solid surface. So we are talking of Zs and Zm. Of course, trays are generally small in thickness, but if somebody wants to put more solid here with a view to increase its productivity of drying, so we have only 5 trays, but we load it or overload with a very large amount of solid surface, then the thickness will be more. Heat received by conduction will be less now under steady state, so Q will be less and Nc will be less. So there are certain factors which increase the rate of drying or rate of evaporations, certain parameters, certain factors which decrease the rate of drying and rate of evaporations. It's very important, the last one which we said here. Alright, if you're very often, there's a mistake we make, we take a trays and we overload with very large amount of solid surface with a view to improve our production rate. In 1 hour or 1 day we can process a lot of solids, but remember that when we increase the thickness, then heat received by conduction is small, goes smaller, the rate decreases. Alright, so there are always certain cost, economy, they have to play a role here, just like any other previous unit operation we did, absorption, adsorptions, alright, distillations. So their cost and economy have to play a role. And again, if you have some design course in your syllabus, you will be come across some of these aspects on drying or the cost or economy of the drying. We skip those discussion here. Alright, so before we take this example, let's try to summarize what we have done. So we started, in fact, the previous lecture, we had an example, it was purely mass transfer. The idea was, for any type of solid, there is a constant, there is a characteristics drying curve one has to establish by the experiment. We did that example, and there we found out, we did some calculation to find how long will it take to dry the solid surface. That's one. There was no reference to heat transfer, but if you think carefully, when we have this constant rate heat drying, so there the rate of evaporation is same as the rate of drying. So as long as the temperature is fixed, we fix the rate of drying. So if you have solid surface and initial part of the drying where we have thin film of the liquid, here the temperature of the evaporating surface will play a major role. Okay, and how do we establish the steady state surface temperature? That has to come from heat transfer aspects. Alright, so in that heat transfer aspects, we talked of heat radiations from some solid heat plate, or we have heat received from the bottom of the plate tray. We also have convective heat transfer coefficient, certain Reynolds number. So we put all three So we have expression for heat transfer rate. We equate it to this mass transfer rate by this lambda. Of course, lambda is a thermodynamic properties. It depends upon what is the surface temperature. Mind you, surface temperature is not known to us. All we know is the gas temperature. So by knowing, of course, heat transfer coefficient, one can make some estimate there. How good is your convective heat transfer coefficient? How good is your HR, etc. So from that, one can make an estimate of Ts, so that at least for calculation purpose, one can make an estimate for lambda s, latent heat of vaporizations, and one can always go back, make some iterations to have the improved iteration for this solid surface. So once we have all three equated and qualitatively we have discussed, we know there are certain parameters: Reynolds number, high flow rates, a small thickness of solid surface, dry air should be dry, not humid. So all this will affect your rate of drying. And mind you, if the rate of drying also decides your critical moisture content, right, or the equilibrium moisture content actually. Okay, so this is all we have for this heat transfer. What we should do now, we'll take up an example and we will do some numerical calculations, knowing the heat transfer aspects, heat transfer parameters, how we can calculate NC, and how we can find out how long will it take to dry the solid from X1 to Xc at least. Because beyond that, then when you have the capillary effects, things become more complicated, and for this course, third-year level course, we skip those quantitative aspects of it. Okay, the Knudsen diffusivity or the rate of what decides your moisture content, Xc, etc. All right, so let's take this example here. So in this example, let's say we have this solid surface at 120 degree centigrade. So it's a radiating, it's a very high temperature, and there is a heat radiation QR. Okay, we have a tray here. Let's say this thickness is 0.8 millimeter. So we follow the same nomenclature. This is equal to Zm, m for the plate. On this we have kept a solid, say moist solid, which we want to dry here. So not with the same scale, qualitatively this Zs is, let's say, 25 millimeter. So one is solid, and here we have this plate. Thickness of this thermal conductivity of the solid surface Ks is 3.5 watt SI unit meter Kelvin. So Km expectedly will be very large, 45 watt per meter Kelvin. So these are the physical properties of solid, two solids here. Let's say this dimension is also given to us. This is 0.7 meter. Okay, and here this rectangular slab is also 0.7. So essentially you have 0.7 by 0.7, and of course this is 25 millimeter, so 0.025 here. Okay, let's say the distance between the two is 100 millimeter. So why do we require this distance? Air flows through this. Of course air flows from here also. So when we want to calculate Hc, we require this d, equivalent diameter of flow. So before that, let's put on the specs for air. Air has a temperature of 65 degrees centigrade. So this is Tg. Humidity of air is given as 0.01. So kg per kg of dry air. And this velocity of this air is 0.3 meter per second. So the air flows over this and flow underneath this. Heat is transferred by conduction from here. So let's say there is also Hc here, like in the previous. So there's a drop, another drop, another drop, till we reach this Ts. So again, this Ts is not known to us. Solid surface, what is the temperature of a solid surface? Because Ts will be decided by all three transports. One is QR, one is, again, will be convective heat transfer coefficient here, there will be Hc, so there will be Qc, and of course from the bottom we have this Qk, all three which we discussed. Okay, So question asked here is, what is NC, how long will it take, or what is the drying rate, and how long will it take to dry moisture content from x1 to, let's say, xc. So we are still discussing this constant drying rate region, or the unbound moisture where the evaporation rate is, or the drying rate is a constant at C. C stands for critical moisture content. Alright, so these are the three, these are the information given to us. Then from this we have to calculate NC. Once we know NC, we can go back to our previous lecture and we can write down the expression for TC and we can calculate this. Alright, so let us calculate HC, convective heat transfer coefficients. We use the same correlation which we had earlier, 5.90, G to the power 0.71. This G is given in kg per meter square per second over this dE 0.29. So what is this G in kg per meter square per second? This is nothing but UG, velocity in meter per second, multiplied, so it's a mass flux multiplied by gas density rho g. Now this UG is of course given to us 0.3 meter per second. Rho g is the gas density. We know the temperature, but mind you, there is a moisture also. But Y is given to us 0.01 kg per kg dry air from stoichiometries. You can calculate the density for mixture of air and moisture. So let's say that rho g is also given to us or calculated as 1.04 kg per cubic meter. So this G is 0.312 kg per meter square per second. What is this dE? We said the D is the equivalent diameter of flow. So here we need the information. What is the thickness here, or the distance between the top plate and between the radiating plate and this top of the solid surface through which air flows. So this dE is very simple here. It's a rectangular 4 into cross sections. So 4 into 0.1 into 0.7. So the distance between the two here is given as 0.1 and the solid surface was 0.7 both ways, length in this. So this is all 0.7 here, top of the solid surface, and the distance here is the plate, which is 0.1. So 4 into 0.1, 0.7, this would be your cross sectional area. Alright, or this is 0.01 into 0.7, this is your cross sectional area here, divided by, you will have 4 into this perimeter, weighted perimeter, so 0.7 plus 0.1 into 2. So 4 times this cross sectional area multiplied by the weighted perimeter, 0.7 plus 0.1, twice of this will give you 0.175 meter. And you put it here, direct substitution, HC is 22 watt per meter square Kelvin. So approximately. Okay, let's see. So we have calculated HC. Now we have to calculate HR. So HR, again we make use of that expression which we wrote in terms of temperature. Let's say emissivity is given as 0.94. So HR equal to 0.94 multiplied by Stephen-Boltzmann constant, which is all SI unit 5.37, 10 to the power minus 8 TR to the power 4. So we have 393 to the power 4. Remember, this temperature is 120 degrees centigrade. Alright, so 120 degrees centigrade at 273, 393 minus this gas temperature. Gas temperature is given as 60 degrees, 65 degrees centigrade. So this is 311 to the power 4. Divided by, we have 391 minus 311. So HR multiplied by this is same as from your Stephen-Boltzmann equations here. If you calculate here HR, this is 9.5 approximately watt per meter square Kelvin. Alright, so we have calculated HR, we have calculated HC. Let's calculate now overall heat transfer coefficient UK. So for that we require, say, undrying area. So from the bottom of the plate there is no rate, no heat drying here. So this is your 0.7 square equal to 0.49 meter square plus side walls also there is no drawing here, so you will like to add those two areas. So this would be your 0.025 is the thickness, 25 millimeter, multiplied by 0.7, all right, multiplied by all four sides. So this is your 0.49 meters square from the bottom, and the four sides you have this. If you do this, is 0.56 meters square. Area of drawing plus the average mean area of drawing, it's all the same, 0.7 into 0.7. It's a rectangular slab here, so 0.49 meters square. There is no effect of geometry. So this is all 0.7 here and 0.7 here. 0. All right. So this is 0.7 into 0.7. All right. So this is A equal to M. All you're supposed to do, put in the expressions for UK, which is 0.49, one area corrected by 0.56. So this would be unused area multiplied by 21.9 or 22, which you calculated for HC. So we are adding all three resistance now. First resistance is heat conduction, heat by convective, heat transfer by convections. So we just now we calculated HC as 22 watt per meter square per Kelvin. So that's the first resistance here, multiplied by the second, which is metal. All right. So for the metal, thickness is 0.8 millimeter. So you have 0.008 divided by thermal conductivity, which was very high, 45 watt per meter, into the two area 0.49 divided by 0.56. So this is area of drying, and this is area of undrying here. Plus you have conductions through the solid surface, 25 millimeter thickness, 0.025, 3.5 multiplied by 0.49 divided by 0.49. This one becomes your AU, one is your AM. Both of them are the same here. If you do this, you will get UK as approximately 21 watt per meter square Kelvin. So overall heat transfer coefficient we have calculated UK. Now go back to the big expressions which we obtain for NC and QS. All right, so let's rewrite these equations. NC equals, we had HC plus UK, TG minus TS plus HR, TR minus TS over lambda S. This we equated to KY and YS minus Y. Now notice here this KY is not given to us, okay, but if you take these two equations and rearrange, you should be able to obtain this expression like YS minus Y lambda S over HC over KY. Lambda S has to be calculated at TS, which is not known to us, but nonetheless we'll come back to that later. Let's rearrange these equations like this: 1 plus UK over HC, TG minus TS plus HR over HC, TR minus TS. Now you should realize that HC over KY, go back to the again heat transfer, this number should be familiar to you. Ratios of convective heat transfer coefficients over mass transfer coefficient is nothing but humid heat of the gas, and this gets a special nomenclature CS. So CS for this air under that conditions, let's say is given as 1024 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. So instead of calculating KY, we realize that HC over KY is humid heat, which we should be able to obtain from thermodynamics, thermophysical properties of air at that temperature 65 degrees centigrade, to obtain this number as 1024 kilojoule per kilowatt. Now in this expressions, everything is known to us except TS and YS. All right, this TS and ys. Lambda s also is a function of ts. That means one has to make an estimate. What is the best estimate for ts, for which we can calculate lambda s to begin with. Then we can always come back and iterate. Alright. So the solid temperature here is not known to us, but the air temperature is now 65 degrees centigrade, not a very large temperature. Let's say the first guess for lambda is 38. So Ts, this is the first guess. This is, let's say, surface temperature is 38 degrees centigrade. Once we fix Ts, lambda s we can obtain from the book, textbook, handout, to 2411 kg per kilojoule per kg. So it's an estimated value at Ts. Rest all these numbers are known to us. Everything, alright, except ys and Ts. So we substitute this number, ys minus y, which is 0.01. Then we have 2411 into 10 power 3 to make it 0. This is your lambda over hc over ky, which we got 1024. This will equal to 1 plus uk over hc. We have calculated 21 over 22, 65 minus ts. So capital Ts is nothing but small ts in centigrade plus 273. So the difference will be in Kelvin or centigrade, it will be the same here, plus 9.5, 22, which is HR and HC. TR, again 120 degrees centigrade minus Ts. If we do this, simplify, we have an expression for ys humidity, saturated humidity corresponding to this Ts, drying surface, evaporating surface, as 0.086 minus 10.2, 10 power minus 4 Ts. So let us box this. Alright, so now let's go back to your psychrometric chart. So this is the way this drawing is extensively involved with heat transfer and mass transfer here. So we have this graph here. So this is available in Maccabe-Smith or any drawing curve, any drawing book, Trebol, even the book by Datta. Alright. So here you will see some number which is humidity, 0. Let's say 0.02. Here you will read the temperature 20, let's say 70 degrees centigrade. So this is in centigrade. You will see a curve which is your saturated humidity curve, ys. So ys versus temperature. And we know this curve here, ys equal to, which we have calculated in terms of Ts, y equal to mx plus c, a straight line. Take the slope, take the intercept and draw this line. This line will intersect as ys and this will intersect as Ts, surface temperature. So this is the equation of this line. This is a saturated humidity. Essentially you have connected an operating line to this equilibrium line to find this ys. If you read from the graph, you should read this as 0.046 and you should read this Ts, which is 38 degrees centigrade. So we had made a very good guess. We started with 38 degrees centigrade just to calculate lambda s. Any other values 40, 41 in the neighborhood of 38, 36, 37 would have given you the similar result or very close to this. So lambda s does depend upon the temperature, but plus minus 3-4 degrees centigrade should not make any difference. Anyway, nonetheless, we got the values by intersecting this thermodynamical curve, psychrometric chart and this operating line, which is from here. This gives us ys and Ts. Once we know ys and Ts, this 0.04 kg per kg, now we can go back and we can solve for NC. All the terms are known here. NC should be able to go back and write down the same expression which we had, HC plus UK, TG minus TS plus HR, TR minus TS over lambda s. Mind you, this is also equal to KY, ys minus y. Although we know KY, alright, and we know ys, sorry, if we know ys and y here, but ky is not known to us, so we won't be able to use these expressions. We knew, of course, ratios of ky and hc, or hc over ky was given as humid heat. So if we know this hc we have calculated, one can also calculate ky, or we can use these expressions. So either use this expression or use this expressions to obtain. The idea here is that mass transfer coefficient we are not calculating directly from any correlations, but from the knowledge of humid heat. hc, of course, we have calculated from the correlation, so we know the ratios, we can calculate ky. We know the humidity of y, which was given us, which is 0.01 given to us here, all right, and we had this ys, which we have calculated as 0.046. all right. So if you put these values here, we have 22 plus 21 Tg minus Ts. We can still work on centigrade here. 65 minus 38 plus HR 9.5. Tr radiating temperature is 120 degrees Celsius minus 38, which we have calculated, divided by this lambda s, which is same as the previous values which we had, 2411. all right. So from this we can get the values of Nc as 7.85 kg per second per meter square of drying surface. What is the drying surface? It's nothing but 0.7 multiplied by 0.7 meters square. So we have now Nc as 7.85 multiplied by 0.49 equals 3.85 10 to power minus 4 kg per second. So this is the evaporation rate, kg per second per meter square, or we have it as kg per second here. all right. So this is the example now which we calculated for the Nc. Once you know the value of Nc, at what rate you are drying it, one can go back to the previous lecture and can find how long will it take to calculate this TAC. all right. So let's just write down the expressions. So knowing the values of Nc, we can calculate Tc, which is from x initial to xc, moisture content kg per kg. How long will it take? One can calculate Ss, total amount of solid which you have taken, over area, xi minus xc over Nc. So once we know the values of Nc, the rest of the quantities are given, one can make this calculation for Tc. Now remember, this also we said in the just earlier, that one can also make an estimate for the surface temperature if we neglect the heat radiation. That means the solid surface, say, does not receive any heat or a significant amount of heat from radiation or from conductions. In that case, Ts, surface temperature or evaporating temperature, will be same as the wet bulb temperature. And mind you, if you know the dry temperature, air dry bulb temperature, and the humidity, from the psychrometric chart one can follow the adiabatic saturation line, all right, to obtain this Ys as well as Ts. So in that case, all the calculation for heat transfer coefficients for HC, for HR, and this heat transfer by conduction, they become redundant. So that's in one approximation if you neglect heat radiation and conductions. So all we are trying to say here, that neglecting HR or HK radiation and conduction. So if we neglect this, Ts is nothing but wet bulb temperature, which is just a function of quality of the air. So if we know the air temperature and if we know the humidity, we can follow the psychrometric chart here. So the same plot which we had here for saturated humidity, Ys versus temperature of the air. So if we know this Y, which we know in our case, this is 0.01 kg per kg. We know this temperature here, which is 65 degrees centigrade. So Tg and Y, follow this adiabatic saturation line on this chart to reach here Ts and reach Ys. This value of Ts, assuming that we have neglected this Ts can be read as around 28.5 degrees centigrade. So remember Ts what we calculated here, or a small ts, right? This was 36 degrees centigrade. So that tells us that the radiation effect, because of radiation the temperature is 28.8 to 30. So difference of 10 degrees centigrade is because of radiation and by conductions. Nonetheless, if we neglect those, so we get 28.8 degrees centigrade, and we can get Ys as 0.025 kg per kg. And then from this we can always go back and calculate Nc as Q by lambda s. But remember, now Q contains only convections, convective effect, Hc Tg minus Ts over lambda s, Hr and Hk, because of radiation and conductions they are neglected. Now we know this quantity 22, temperature is 65 degrees centigrade, Ts just now we calculated 28.5 degrees centigrade over lambda s now again should be calculated based on this 28.5 degrees centigrade, and again from the literature value we have 22,435 10 to the power 3 joule per kg. So this is the lambda s calculated at Ts, which we have calculated 28.5 degrees centigrade, which was your wet bulb temperature. So now the saturation temperature or surface temperature has reached wet bulb temperature, and from this you will get 3.28 10 to the power minus 4 kg per meter square per second. Again put this area multiplied by 0.49 evaporating area or drying area, we have this Nc in terms of kg per second as 1.6 kg per second. Alright, so from here one can compare to different 1.6 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 4 kg per second. So the rate of drying has decreased because surface temperature has decreased. Alright, so this is one way to calculate, make some estimate for Nc when we assume that the surface temperature has reached wet bulb temperature. Otherwise one has to do this comprehensive calculations for Hr and Hc. Alright, so today's lecture we would like to conclude. We have said that we have brought heat transfer aspects into drying or mass transfer. You see the direct coupling of heat transfer and mass transfer, because in the drying you require a lot of heat to drive off moisture, not only from the solid surface, also from the pores or from the capillaries. Of course we said that for this course at this level we don't make any computations for capillaries transfer. Okay, it's more aggressive at a graduate level or certain design course, maybe you will get a feel of it. Right now we have whatever calculation we have done, that should be sufficient to appreciate that what is the role of heat transfer on mass transfer. Next lecture when we meet, now we talk of this continuous drying. So here we have a solid surface and air flows through this. Now we will talk of a solid surface which moves. So you have a belt on which you have the solids, say minerals. So belt moves and minerals moves in one directions, and you have air which can flow through this, or the air can flow in the countercurrent directions. So you have different type of situations. We will spend couple more lectures to make some simple calculation for drying.